Popularity is loud. Wealth is quiet. And in 2026, the gap between those two is getting expensive. You've been told visibility is power. Build your brand. Post consistently. Document everything. Be everywhere. But here's the question. No one asks, if visibility equals power, why do the most powerful families on earth avoid it? Why do old money heirs have locked Instagram accounts? Why do billionaires' children attend school under assumed simplicity instead of spotlight? Why are the wealthiest dynasties nearly invisible online? Because rich parents understand something most people don't. Popularity creates exposure. Exposure creates vulnerability. Vulnerability destroys leverage. And leverage is everything. The popularity trap. You grew up in the attention economy, where likes feel like validation, followers feel like status, views feel like currency. But attention is not wealth. Attention is volatility. And volatility destroys stability. Here's the modern equation nobody explains to you. More visibility equals more scrutiny. More scrutiny equals more risk. More risk equals more unpredictability. Why does your financial advisor never mention reputational volatility? Because they're managing your assets, not your digital footprint. Rich parents manage both. Digital footprints are permanent leverage. When a wealthy family thinks about privacy, they aren't thinking about secrecy. They're thinking about optionality. Every photo posted, every opinion shared, every emotional reaction broadcast. It becomes archived leverage. Future employers can see it. Future business partners can analyze it. Future enemies can weaponize it. The internet doesn't forget. It accumulates. Rich parents teach their children something early. If it doesn't build long-term leverage, don't publish it. Simple, brutal, effective. Reputation is an asset class. You think reputation is social. It's financial. Banks evaluate character. And investors evaluate discipline. Partners evaluate discretion. If your digital presence screams volatility, you look like risk. And risk increases friction. Old money treats reputation like capital. Protected, managed, strategically revealed. They don't overshare their vacations. They don't document every purchase. They don't announce every win. Because visibility attracts predators, legal predators, social predators, financial predators. And once attention scales, so does exposure. And the power of obscurity. There's a reason some of the wealthiest families in the world are barely known. Obscurity is protection. When people can't map your lifestyle, they can't map your vulnerabilities. When people can't track your movements, they can't anticipate your decisions. When competitors don't know your strategy, they can't counter it. Obscurity buys time. Time buys advantage. Advantage compounds. Modern culture rewards. Noise. Let's be honest. If you don't post, you feel invisible. If you don't share, you feel irrelevant. If you're not trending, you feel behind. That's cultural conditioning. But wealth-building culture is different from attention culture. Attention culture rewards exposure. Wealth culture rewards restraint. One optimizes for applause. The other optimizes for control. Rich parents don't train their kids for applause. They train them for optionality, the psychological discipline of not posting. It's harder than it sounds. And when everyone around you is posting achievements, trips, upgrades, staying silent feels like losing. But silence builds mystique. Mystique builds curiosity. Curiosity builds influence. And influence doesn't require explanation. Rich families understand delayed gratification socially, not just financially. They teach their children, you don't need to prove your life to strangers. You build privately. You move strategically. You reveal selectively. Because once something is public, you can't take it back. Popularity creates targeting. Here's something no influencer coach tells you. Visibility increases probability. Probability of what? Targeting. Scammers target visible wealth signals. Litigation risk increases with perceived assets. Public criticism scales with audience size. Even socially, the more visible you are, the more likely someone wants to test you. Popularity is a spotlight, and spotlights attract heat. Why do you think ultra-wealthy families use trusts, shell structures, privacy layers? Because visibility equals vulnerability. And rich parents don't confuse attention with advantage. Social media as a data harvest machine. When you post consistently, you're not just sharing. You're training algorithms. Algorithms learn your habits, your locations, your routines, your preferences. Data is leverage. Corporations monetize it. Governments regulate it. Hackers exploit it. Yet why voluntarily provide it? Rich parents teach digital restraint because they understand data economics. The less predictable you are, the harder you are to manipulate. Predictability reduces leverage. Obscurity increases it. Popularity is temporary. Reputation is permanent. Trends change weekly. Algorithms shift monthly. But reputational damage lasts decades. A reckless tweet at 19 can resurface at 39. An impulsive video can cost you bored seats. Rich parents teach their children, the internet is permanent arbitration. Every post is evidence. So act accordingly. Not paranoid, disciplined, the illusion of influence. You think 100,000 followers equals power. But real power doesn't announce itself. Power moves quietly. Power negotiates privately. Power influences outcomes without public credit. Ask yourself, would you rather be known or needed? Known people are replaceable. Needed people are indispensable. Rich families optimize for indispensability, not visibility. The strategic advantage of underexposure. When you don't broadcast everything, people underestimate you. Underestimation is leverage. Competitors reveal more when they think you're naive. Opponents relax when they think you're small. Silence creates strategic miscalculation, and miscalculation creates opportunity. Rich parents don't want their kids to look dominant. They want them to be underestimated. There's a difference. On emotional control in the digital age, posting is often emotional. You react, you vent, you celebrate impulsively. Old money discipline says, wait, 24 hours minimum. If it still adds value tomorrow, consider sharing. Most emotional impulses fade within hours, but digital evidence lasts forever. Rich parents train emotional control online the same way they train financial control offline. Impulse is expensive. Discipline compounds. Privacy builds internal identity. When your life is public, your identity becomes performative. You start living for reaction. Likes influence decisions. Comments shape behavior. But when your life is private, your identity stabilizes internally. You make decisions based on long-term value, not short-term applause. That stability builds clarity. Clarity builds leverage. Controlled visibility versus constant exposure. This isn't about disappearing. It's about control. Rich families still network. They still build relationships. They still cultivate influence. But they do it deliberately. They control timing. They control messaging. They control audience. They don't allow algorithms to dictate perception. They curate reputation like a portfolio. The security dimension, high visibility, increases physical risk. Location tagging, routine exposure, luxury signaling. Criminal behavior follows patterns. Predictable patterns are easier to exploit. Rich parents teach their children to avoid broadcasting travel in real time, to avoid flaunting assets, to avoid telegraphing wealth. Not from fear, from risk management. You insure assets. You should insure reputation, too. The long-term game. Most people play short-term visibility games. Rich families play multi-generational games. What will this post look like in 10 years? In 20? When you're negotiating a merger? When you're running for office? When you're sitting on a board? Old money thinks in decades. Popularity thinks in days. Choose your time frame. Power through scarcity. Scarcity increases perceived value. If you speak constantly, your words lose weight. If you post daily, your life feels accessible. Accessibility reduces mystique. Mystique increases influence. When you're rarely seen, your presence carries gravity. When you're constantly visible, you become background noise. Rich parents teach selective presence because scarcity signals value, and the invisible network effect. Quiet families often have the strongest networks because their connections are built privately, not publicly. No public tagging, no public alliances, no visible endorsement trails. That protects relationships, and protected relationships last longer. Public alliances create pressure. Private alliances create loyalty. The final principle. Privacy is not about hiding. It's about controlling narrative. If you don't control your narrative, algorithms will. If algorithms control your narrative, volatility controls your leverage. Rich parents teach their children, be known for competence, not commentary. Be respected for discipline, not drama. Be influential without being exposed. Because in the modern world, obscurity is not weakness, it's strategy. And strategy compounds. If you understand this rule, your behavior changes. You post less. You observe more. You move quieter. You build longer. And suddenly, popularity doesn't matter. Leverage does. Because popularity feels powerful. But privacy protects power. And protected power is what lasts.